Hey, it's Allie. Long time no chat. Haven't done a review in a hot second or a year, but I wanted to talk about this Tombow VIP Club box because I was making an Instagram caption and it was getting away from me. Turned into a novel, and I'm like, oh, wait, I have a YouTube channel where I can voice my novels. So here it is. So Tombow is it. Well, look, basic palette, ABT Pro alcohol based markers, 12 colors come in it. They're basically the same size as the regular dual brush pen. They do have a two different tips. They have the brush tip on one end, which is real similar to the dual brush pen, the regular one that they've had forever. You can kind of see, same, very similar in size. The other side of that marker is a chisel tip. I think that the chisel tip is mainly used by people that want to use like big, like a big chisel to fill in big areas, you know. So that's different than the bullet tip that's on the regular dual brush pen. So yeah, very similar in size. Right now, I'm holding the ABT Pro blender pen, and that's going to be the thing that helps you blend, and it's also going to help you kind of lighten up the colors that you have in your basic palette. And I'll show some swatches in a second. So the box comes with this little plastic container. You have your rainbow plus a few colors. Um, I like the color, the array of colors that they included in this palette. I was able to get a lot out of them. I'll show you like a coloring page that I did with them here in a second. But basically, with these colors, I swatched them on the marker pad that came with the box, and it's a pretty sturdy kind of thick paper, definitely thicker than most marker papers. You can see on that left hand side there what it looks like when I do half color and half blender pen. It blends it out to be quite a bit lighter. And then on the right side, you can see the gradient where I did layers of each color and then tried to blend them out with the blender pen. And I was pretty excited about the gradient I was able to achieve with the alcohol markers. That I've never had much success with them before. Yeah, here you can see a coloring page. I tried to bring out all the different colors that these things are capable of. And you can see, like, it definitely looks like there are more than 12 colors there. I was able to do dark variants of each of the colors, the lighter variants, and then the lightest with the blender pen, as well as actually get some blends in there. You can see the yellow to the kind of olive green, the dark blue to the light blue. And I was impressed. I didn't really think that alcohol markers were capable of doing that. It had never been my experience with alcohol markers. So, yeah, I was delighted what they were capable of doing. And with the toe, I was so excited. You can see here I did kind of rainbow, red and orange up top, green and yellow, blues, purples, pinks, and then kind of like a rainbow layer in the middle. I mean, check out that gradient. Like, what? I I'm still like mesmerized by it. I kind of wish I would have done the whole bag like that, but I was pretty nervous. Like, again, my experience with alcohol markers has been rocky. And I'm going to show you kind of a side by side comparison of these ABT Pros versus some of the alcohol markers I've tried before. So, a Copic marker, I've tried those, a couple colors. I only have a couple because I don't really like them. And Prismacolors, I only have a couple colors because I just really don't like them. They're big. They're bulky. They don't feel good in my hand, and they're expensive. None of those things invite me to purchasing more. Um, so that's part of why I was a little nervous when I first picked up the ABT Pros. I was like, oh gosh. But immediately the size difference is just crazy different. I mean it's like half the size of the Copic and the Prismacolor. Here you can see the chisel tips. I, I, I mean, they're essentially the same. You can see the Prismacolor chisel tip is enormous. The Copic is a little bit bigger than the Tombow chisel tip. And yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, they're, I don't know. I don't think that the color payoff is really all that different. I'd say that the Prismacolor is probably the weakest as far as like, I mean, you can see it's a little bit different in there. The Prismacolor does have a bullet tip edge, which the Copic and the Tombow both, they don't have a bullet tip. They have the brush tip. You can see there's kind of a big difference as far as the kind of brush tip that it has, each of them. The Tombow's more conical, comes to a point quicker, and the tip kind of rounds out, like the the brush like rounds out into the tip. Now, with the Copic, you can see how there's like kind of like a little edge at the beginning of the big swipe down and the end of it. And you might even be able to see it when I'm swiping down too. The tip kind of goes back up. And you might be able to see it if you like look close enough or pause it. But the tip, the very tip of the Copic doesn't always touch the paper, which is part of the reason it doesn't feel very good. There's kind of a gradient when I'm using the Copic, when I'm like kind of using those swipey down things I just did, those quick down strokes. And you'll see the Tombow doesn't really have a gradient effect like that. With the Tombow, you can see pretty clearly it's like a more even downstroke, a more comfortable upstroke, and it just felt more sturdy, maybe? No, I don't know if sturdy is the word, but it felt like I had more control. And when I'm doing this kind of up and down thing, it feels a lot better. It feels like I have a lot more control over the marker than I did with the Copic. And, you know, this is coming from the standpoint of somebody that does a lot of hand lettering. And maybe this is just really a tool mainly used for illustrators. But whether you're an illustrator or a hobbyist or whoever, I just think that comfort is really important when it comes to handling any kind of art supplies. And like the Copic and the Prismacolor and any other alcohol marker I've ever tried, they're just beefy. Why are they beefy? Can someone explain that to me? I don't get it. And like the Tombow is slim and it feels good in my hand, and I'm gonna be more likely to use something that I'm comfortable holding, whether it's for lettering or anything else. Yeah, so I mean, comfort wise, A plus, 10 out of 10, most comfortable alcohol marker I've ever handled. And I mean, you know, if you're watching this, that means you're the kind of person that goes into the art store or the craft store and you're like, what kind of supplies can I find that I don't already have to add to my collection of freaking markers? Like, you have every marker under the sun, or at least you try to get every marker under the sun. And alcohol markers just never did anything for me. I would walk in and be like, well, I'm not getting those. I don't have money to spend on an $8 marker that makes me feel like I don't know how to even hold markers. That's how uncomfortable most alcohol markers are, at least for hobbyists. Until now, I'm actually impressed. I'm not disappointed at all with these markers, which is a big surprise. I was intimidated when I first opened the box. I'm like, alcohol markers, oh boy, I'm a little nervous, a little scared, but I'm just I'm excited. I'm excited to work with these colors more. I'm excited to get more colors. I, oof, man, yeah. So if you're kind of the person that you've handled some alcohol markers in the past and you were like me and kind of intimidated by them or disappointed after handling them, felt like you spent too much money on them, like these ones are worth a try. And I mean, this VIP box is $30. You can't walk into a store and buy, 5 alcohol markers for that price. I mean, you get a 12 pack of the ABT Pro Basic markers. You get the blender pen, you get a sweet, cute little tote, and a little sample marker paper for $30. 30. It's worth like over twice that amount. So if you're like me and you didn't like alcohol markers, I think that you'll be impressed by this. I really really think so. I've just been super impressed by this VIP box all around. One of their most impressive yet. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about the markers or about anything, let me know. I'd be happy to do more with these because I'm excited. If you couldn't tell, I'm just pumped. Okay, yeah, let me know in the comments. Thanks, bye.